Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Bally's Sportsbook and Casino, downtown Baton Rouge. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Max Gautreaux, and joining us today, Jimmy's still on vacation, Jacques Doucet from WAFB Channel 9. You know, when we're here in the Sportsbook, of course, we are not allowed to go with our video on YouTube, just audio only. We have the TV guy in here, and we don't have a camera. It just kind of fell that way. Jacques, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Charlie. I've enjoyed a pretty good summer so far, and next week LSU will report to camp. They'll start to practice. Went to the first Saints training camp practice yesterday. So from this point forward, man, the train starts going down the track. You say, I can't wait till it gets here. Then you blink, then it's Halloween. Then you blink, and it's Thanksgiving. And then you blink, and it's over. So,
well, after Thanksgiving, there's still 2 months of college football this year. You know, that's the crazy thing about it. We knew it was going to be a long summer when LSU baseball didn't get. But I got to be honest with you, the break was good. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready to watch football. I watched enough soccer. I enjoyed the soccer. I had enough soccer, and it doesn't feel like a lot of times when media days rolls around or the start of camp rolls around, it's like, hang on, we just got back from Omaha, like.
Right.
Last week.
Right.
So it didn't feel like that at all. I wouldn't say I want to do it like this every year for sure, but it worked out.
Yeah, 2 of the last 3 summers, I looked it up. So last summer, 25, LSU celebrated the national championship in Ellick Stadium on June 25th. This year, I think the season ended on May 20th or something like that. So from my perspective and your perspective, that's 1 month that you don't have LSU baseball to talk about in terms of playing games and playing for a championship. Now it's all the portal talk, but it was a lot different. Yeah, in the past, it's like, man, they celebrate the national title. Next week is the 4th of July, and then we're going to SEC football media days. It was that fast.
I have come to enjoy the coverage of the NCAA baseball tournament so much because it's so much better than, what we started with. You can now see any game you want, and on regular TV, without streaming through the super regionals. And I really enjoyed being able to watch all of that from a different perspective. Not necessarily a rooting perspective, except when we, had action on the games. But to be able to watch it and go, doesn't really matter as far as LSU's concerned. When Oklahoma went on their run, it was just like, wow, oh, did they really do that?
Yeah.
Because they weren't very good during the regular season. They looked like a championship team.
Well, a couple of years ago, John Eads had just really started with us, and he went to North Carolina and covered that regional, and I got together with some friends, and it was just so much fun. We sat by the pool, we had some beers, and just going from one game to the next. Like the Cajuns were playing somewhere, and they were doing pretty well, and LSU was playing that night, and you can just bounce around, and yeah, the coverage is tremendous now on the streaming, ESPN Plus, and those different things.
The extra time, you got to go to Fenway Park this summer.
I did, Charlie. We made a guys trip. We went to Fenway Park to see the Yankees play the Red Sox, and it was so funny when we got there. The Red Sox were 32-46. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Since we went to that game, they were like 19-2.
Are you a Red Sox fan, or you just wanted to go? You guys pick somewhere.
It was just hey, let's go do something special. Let's go somewhere special, and I really enjoyed it. Like Yankees, Red Sox, they went back and forth in the stands, but I didn't hear any profanity. I didn't see any fights. It was very classy. It was cool. Just the outside. When you go in, it's like, get your hot dog before you go in the park. There's lines in the park. So hearing those voices, and man, just Boston, if you've never been, super clean city. It was like 80 degrees in late June. It's like, here's a cemetery, and Samuel Adams is buried here. Paul Revere's buried here. Ben Franklin's over here. It's just there's so much history there, too. It's pretty cool. Yeah, we went to a game, and then, of course, we went to go see Sammy Hagar and Rick Springfield.
You and I got that in common. I can't do it anymore because he's passed, but used to plan some summer vacations around finding a Buffett concert somewhere.
Yeah, man.
I did that more than once when he was alive. So I understand. I know your love of Hagar and all things Van Halen. So
yeah,
I'm sure you had a good time there. How was media days? What did you take out of 4 days in Tampa, LSU or otherwise?
Well, first time he was ever in Tampa. No one complained about that, especially from the television perspective when you're doing live shots and you've got palm trees behind you and pretty water and so forth. Pretty people, by the way.
Picturesque, yeah.
I'm like, is everybody in this city in shape? I mean, they were all jogging along the bay there, but
you went with 2,000 media people, and you were worried about too many people being in shape.
I saw your boy Bruce Marshall. I sent you a picture.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much we got out of it. I mean, certainly the Josh Heupel soundbite about mustard and loading up on golf balls was one of the more shocking soundbites from a guy who typically is very boring, who never says anything.
You were in the room. Was it tongue-in-cheek? It felt like it might have been tongue-in-cheek.
But he didn't smile or anything.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just not good at executing that kind of stuff. I mean, we went to the Fiesta Bowl when LSU played him, Central Florida, and Darren DeQuano, videographer, and I walked out like, God, this guy is a drip. You know, He doesn't say anything, but he's a very good coach. But it kind of felt serious, and then I was like, I'm sure the commissioner might be having a little conversation with him after. Golf balls are hard; they hurt people. Let's not throw them at others.
Certainly not encourage. I think we felt the same way about George O'Leary, the 2000 Peach Bowl. He and Saban did a joint press conference, and he was just. He was a brass pole. I mean, I'm sorry. I was like, we had to cover that guy every day and I said that while we were covering Saban every day. So you can imagine.
I felt the same way the two bowl games that LSU played against Notre Dame in recent years when Brian Kelly was there. I'm like, I wouldn't want to cover this guy. He ended up being a lot better than I expected, and he treated me pretty well, and it didn't work out, obviously, for LSU. But anyway.
Well, not covering Kiffin, here's what I've kind of pulled from it, is when we've seen Lane Kiffin press conferences, mostly at Ole Miss, but other places too, we got the sound bite that was maybe a little bit off kilter or whatever. Mm-hmm. And what I realized, having been to a number of them here, is the rest of it's pretty straightforward. He's not this quirky troll.
I heard what you said the other day about Les Miles, when the national media would catch 2 or 3 Les Miles sound bites and say, "Wow, he must be amazing to cover." And
or the plays that he would run. He'd run one fake field goal. Oh, the Mad Hatter! It's like you missed the first 42 toss leads. The pitch dives before you got to that. Kiffin obviously wanted to control the narrative. I understand why. It's what I would have advised him to do as well. But it did. It was a little off-putting to some people that they didn't get to ask maybe as many questions as they wanted to.
He had a strong time of possession there. He ate up a lot of the clock. I think it's 15-minute statement, 16-minute statement, something like that.
Well, Brett McMurphy counted the words. I think it came in just over 2,800. You got to really, really not like somebody to count the number of words. Because he had it like right after that. I don't know if they gave him the transcript and the thing told him how many words, or if he counted them one by one. But 2,800 words.
Les Miles did that one year. He came in and he gave like a breakdown of the summer and what all his kids did during the summer, and he ate up a lot of time. But he was in our room, and I mean, from the local media perspective, Michael Bonnet always does a great job of getting the local media with Kiffin for a breakout before he goes out there. So we were in a private room with him very early in the day and got to ask questions. I thought he was impressive with talking about addition by subtraction. Like, these are the things I've gotten rid of in my life: alcohol, social media. I thought yesterday at the Rotary Club, he spoke well. He projected. As a TV guy earlier, I'm like, this guy, he steps away from the microphone, and I got to bump his levels up a little bit.
Yeah.
But I thought he was really good yesterday, much more relaxed, told some funny jokes.
The Sun Bowl line worked.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if he came with that on the spot or if he knew that was coming and had it planned. But the Sun Bowl, if you missed it yesterday, I don't have the audio handy, but It was a lady handed him a football from the '77 Sun Bowl, and he's like, "You guys celebrating that? Great. All we got to do is make the Sun Bowl." And what made it really funny for me, and Jimmy would get this if he was here, we watched one year, we were doing the show. I believe it was New Year's Eve, and the Sun Bowl was on at about 12 o'clock our time. And it was probably 25 degrees in El Paso, and USC was playing, I think it was Georgia Tech. But Kiffin came out he looked like you remember Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back when they were on the frozen planet, and he had that hood, and Kiffin had the hood, and he had almost closed the opening to where all you could see was maybe his nose and the bottom of his eyes, and USC was out there, and it's like, these guys do not want to be here today. It was like, okay, Georgia Tech routed them. So when he said the Sun Bowl, I remembered that he didn't have a pleasant experience at the Sun Bowl. But it was a funny line, and that Rotary things, you go to that every year. I know you were at Saints Camp yesterday, but you go to that pretty much every year. It's lighthearted. It's the last one that they do before camp starts, and it might not be his most favorite format, but I went and listened to it after the show yesterday. I thought he was fine. Yeah,
and he took a lot of questions from the crowd, I think.
More than he took from the media in the big room.
Maybe so. I don't know. Brian Harsin, by the way, was the worst, the former Auburn coach. That guy came into our room one year. I think he took 2 questions and killed 10 minutes. Yeah. I was like, I'm going to put my hand down. There's no chance I'm getting a question in. But, I thought Kiffin did a very nice job yesterday. He answered questions, and yes, that event every year. I think typically they do the Rotary Club at Drusilla Seafood each week, but for the LSU football coach, it's way too big, so they do it in the south end zone there of Tiger Stadium. And it was interesting to point out, the last time Kiffin was in that room, he was announced as the LSU head coach, did his press conference, and talking to Michael Bonnet, yes, Lane Kiffin has been the head coach of Tennessee. He's been the head coach of the USC Trojans. He's been the head coach of an NFL team. But still, when he walked in that room that day, he was a little shocked by how many people were there. When he walked into his first press conference after the first day of spring football, all these people are here. All these media people are here. He was a bit, it hit him. It's just different, right?
It is different, and it's been different for a long time. In this building that we're in right now, probably about where we're set up, when it was the atrium and the Bash was here. Mm-hmm. I was emceeing the Bash the first year that Les was the coach. It was the Ryan Perilou year. And he came in at the end of the coaches would always come in. There was the big crescendo to the end of the day where the head coach and the staff would come in and the band comes in and plays. Really, very positive day, nothing but, purple and gold. And Les walked in. I had really not met him at that point. And I said, Coach, are you ready? And he said, yeah. And he went over and he kind of peeked out of the curtain. And this atrium, which runs, a full city block pretty much, was full. Yeah. Completely full. And he looked out and he kind of just whispered, I don't think he said, wow. Like, are you serious? Yeah. For signing day, there's thousands of people here to hear. Yes, I don't think that happens just
I think I introduced him. You and I were working that together, maybe, or something. I remember standing out there saying, just to make your point, I remember walking around and looking out and like, holy cow, this is a lot of eyes looking back at you up there.
I think Jay Johnson did that the first press conference that he had, not his introductory press conference, but the first one he did with, just regular media for the season. He goes, okay, I don't know. I mean, I've always said LSU baseball leads the league in media, but I think it's just LSU sports in general. I mean, maybe there's more people covering Texas football or Alabama football. I don't know, but there's no shortage of media here. It's only grown. And, you're going to have a lot of attention, a lot of light on you.
Yeah, we get to see it every day.
Yeah.
Just one other quick story. LSU baseball was at the old box, I think, or maybe the new box. And Northeastern was in town. They were like the 4 seed. And there's like 3 guys from Northeastern sitting around before practice, and they're just kind of just chatting. And one of the guys goes, look at that football stadium. That thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look how big it is, And so, whatever, the forest through the trees line or whatever. But, sometimes we need to go out of town for a few days. cross that Mississippi Bridge into Baton Rouge, look to your right, see Tiger Stadium, be like, yeah, that's pretty impressive.
It's not like that everywhere. We're here at Bally's Sportsbook and Casino downtown Baton Rouge. You know, part of their drawings this summer have you win parts of $100,000 in cash. And, of course, the more you play, the more entries you get into. And you're going to get a lot of great VIP gifts, too. The heat is rising with $100,000 in cash giveaway. Great place to watch the games. We're going to get a full college football season here this year, so looking forward to spending some time, of course, with the NFL. The giant screens, there are no bad sight lines in this bar or this sports book. You're going to be able to watch the games that you want on the big clear screens. Tons of kiosks and people at the window that'll be able to get your action in, so you never have to worry about missing out. Great food options for you on the other end of the atrium, and of course full service bar here, so you have a cocktail, relax. Easy parking, just walk right across the breezeway from the garage, right across the breezeway here at Bally's DraftKings Sportsbook, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Relief windows for windows, vinyl, storm impact windows, wood windows. That's like I had to. If your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine does, there's only one solution. You got to go to Relief Windows. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. I've had them for about 6 or 8 years. They are built to last in these extreme southern Louisiana weather conditions. They look brand new. They're functional on a nice fall or spring day. I love opening it up, getting some fresh air. Functional, look great, and they are no signs of deteriorating at all. Not the same with normal wood windows. It's not a cheap procedure, so do it right the right time and don't have this recurring cost a little bit later down the road like I did. Yeah, was in the market for it. I sure wish I'd have used Relief Windows with the original construction of my homes. For windows, doors, siding, shutter, and shades, go to reliefwindows.com. 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Relief Windows, 288-8138.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net. It is brought to you by Supreme Rice, celebrating 90 years in business in 2026. Support our Louisiana farmers at SupremeRice.com. Jacques Doucet is our guest today. Jimmy will be back on Monday, but we've enjoyed getting to visit with a lot of our friends in the media here. And, of course, Jacques, you and I go way back. So, you know, you were at Saints camp yesterday. Yeah. Man, I've been pretty optimistic. I'm just going to dial it back. Optimistic about the start of the Saints season. And going into the first day, all right, just give me a drama-free day. And, of course, you know, it just happened that Brian Brzee is most likely going to be out for the year. And I know this didn't happen. I don't think this happened while you were still there. But Taysom Hill put out his social media post that he's done with the Saints. So it was a little bit of a, hey, look, first day at camp, a lot of optimism, a lot of good vibes, all that good stuff, but a little bit of a bummer and then a bittersweet kind of thing at the end of the day yesterday.
Yeah, you know, time gets away from us. So this is the 20-year anniversary of Sean Payton's first training camp with the Saints.
Wow.
And Drew Brees and Reggie Bush showing up on a helicopter and all that stuff. And they talked about that camp was like gladiator camp, like 2 days.
Was that in Hammond?
No, it was in Millsaps.
Yeah.
Jackson.
That's right.
And if it's possible to find a place that's hotter than Louisiana, I think Jackson was it. I mean, it was just boiling hot. And, you know, he was inheriting a bad team, trying to toughen them up. He cut Dante Stallworth. Wayne Gandy had the rocking chair in the locker room, and he cut him. I mean, and so now it's nothing like that. They were in and out. I know probably the first day back then they weren't full pads, but yesterday they were in and out in 77 minutes, I think it was. There's no contact. They're in shells. And a guy still gets hurt and is gone for the year. You know, if you're Kellen Moore, who, to his credit, is not an emotional guy, and I think that really has helped the Saints, that they've got this even-keel guy who's measured and highly intelligent and still very young. He's not even 40 years old. But to lose a guy that you're counting on as a starter who's supposed to perhaps have a breakout season doing a non-contact drill is just, that's rough. And Taysom Hill, obviously, one of the more unique players in the history of the Saints, perhaps the most versatile player in the history of the Saints. Everything that he did, he obviously was not a full-time quarterback. That wasn't his deal, but kick returns, receiving, rushing, just and a good person. Everything about Taysom Hill reflects that he's a good guy and somebody that you like. And I think Tyler Shuck's the same way. I had a chance just to kind of tell him hello yesterday briefly, and he was talking about the 20 guys he flew out, and obviously he makes more money than the two of us. But I'm thinking to myself, well, a flight from New Orleans to San Diego has got to be about $500 times 20. That's $10,000 in flights alone, and then you're talking about hotels and food and all that. So
you getting a flight out of here for $500 to San Diego? You're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah.
So let me take these kind of in order. First of all, the Brzee injury is just so frustrating. It's not an injury-prone guy. It's not a contact drill. This is just this sounds like, I didn't see it, one of those flukish things. When coaches overwork it, it's like, listen, you're out there for 3 hours. You're asking for it. Or you get a guy that's injury-prone. Man, again, this was completely out of nowhere, flukish. And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but Lane Kiffin pulled back as much contact in spring as he could.
Right.
And still lost 2 guys for the year.
Yeah, Aiden Anding.
Anding and Relaford, still both lost for the year. And here's Kellen Moore trying to limit. They got a month and change of this. They have 5 weeks of this stuff. Please let me scale it back, and you lose one of the guys you're counting on up front in a whatever drill without even needing full pass.
Yeah, and just real quick, it was a weird deal because nobody saw it. Like, we go through the practice, we watch, we go in. Kellen Moore did his press conference. There's a lot of media people there. He was not asked about it. None of the players were asked about it. We're sitting down to edit and start to do our stories, and then, I don't know, it was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the story comes out that he tore his ACL, and we're all looking at each other like, when did that happen? So somebody had a brief shot of him for like 3 seconds where it looked like he was struggling to jog. So maybe it happened right before that. I don't know.
So this is one of these things where he took a massive hit or went down on the ground and writhing in pain. This was very subtle and just as damaging. Let me get on the Taysom Hill for a second. I really enjoyed watching him play. And I was looking at some of the numbers this morning. It's like, did anybody ever do what he did? And the answer, of course, is no. But the Saints did have, I don't know if you remember this guy, they did have a player back in the early 80s, going back into that terrible year that they had when they were 1-15, named Guido Merkins. And Merkins played quarterback, and he played receiver, and he ran the ball a little bit. So I looked up Merkins' stats. I'm like, I remember he got pressed into service as a quarterback and did a few things. Merkins threw 66 passes for the Saints in his time. He caught 569 yards worth of passes. He ran for 35 yards, and he was on all of the special teams. Guido Merkins was a really useful player. He spent 10 years in the league. You take Guido Merkins and put it on steroids, okay, his numbers, and you get what Taysom Hill was able to do. I really liked watching him play football because he was a football player. If he doesn't play anymore, was a football player. It's almost like what happens in high school, Jacques. You get a small roster, lower level. It's like, okay, well, the quarterback might have to play outside linebacker, or running backs become receiver. You got to move guys around just because you don't have enough guys. And you're like, okay, who do we have now that can play on kickoff team or punt coverage? This guy did all of that at the pro level. I mean, that's stuff that high schools have to do. Is like, hey, let's go take Eddie and put him, on the punt return team because we don't have anybody else. That doesn't happen at the NFL level. You don't make a guy play all of these things because you just go out and you get somebody, you go sign somebody else, or you draft somebody else. He was good enough to do all of those things on purpose at the pro level.
And at the end of Breeze's career, when Drew was becoming limited in terms of throwing the football down the field and so forth, he gave them a weapon that kind of opened things up a lot of times when they put him in the backfield and the runs he could make and occasionally throw it and so forth. And, for him to – so along with that, you got two guys yesterday that addressed the media that were kind of both in limbo, that may both be in the twilights of their career. Cam Jordan's played obviously a lot longer than Alvin Kamara. Cam Jordan had a resurgence last year. I think he had 10.5 sacks. So did he have a fountain of youth surge and he's going to fall off a cliff this year, or can he have something similar to this year? He talked to the media, and then Alvin Kamara is entering his 10th year now with the Saints, coming off his worst year statistically with the Saints, and we'll see how he plays off of Travis Etienne. Charlie and I are both from the Lafayette area. I would guess that you have never seen somebody with that name spelled pronounce it that way, but it's his name, and that's what he wants to be called.
Say it again.
It's not Etienne, it's Etienne. He wants you to, the running back.
I hear it as Etienne.
Etienne?
That's kind of French to me, Etienne, right? Yeah.
Well, there was the boxer, the Black Rhino, Clifford Etienne, right?
Yeah.
It's the same spelling. But anyway.
I didn't realize that there was a C sound in there. Okay, I learned something. And no, Etienne is how I've always pronounced it. What's Kamara's mood like? This is different for him. He's not the guy anymore. The
two of us know that Jeff Duncan is a pro and is very good at what he does and knows stuff and doesn't write things to be emotional or play to a fan base or whatever. But he wrote an article that it was time for the Saints to part ways with Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara obviously read that. And at some point yesterday, Jeff asked a question, and he didn't answer. And then Jeff said, so no answer? And he goes, not for you. And so he made it a little bit personal there. Jeff has written books. He's as good as anybody in this state at what he does. So, but there was that kind of interaction yesterday. He was asked if he had a chip on his shoulder. No, why would I have a chip on my shoulder? He did say he was pissed, if I can say that on the radio.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of media were trying to get that juicy soundbite out of him, and he didn't really cave, but at the same time he did. He used the S word a few times, which is becoming more and more common. I hear Saban say it on College Game Day.
Yeah.
Pete Golding said it in my room like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, is the FCC going to have to
it's not necessarily a trend I'm in favor of, but, I think Kamara is going in his thing, and he feels like he's got a lot to prove. That's just my opinion. When he says he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder, okay, but that's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. And that's okay. You find things to motivate you, and if that's what motivates him, that's fine. He's been a great player for a long time, and I think with the usage of him going to a lower volume, I don't know about Fountain of Youth, but you can have fresher legs throughout the course of the season. So he's been at his best when he's been in a combo, whether it be with Latavius Murray or Mark Ingram or whoever. That combo, I'm thinking, will help him out an awful lot. At least I hope.
Well, you can remember, I think it was that Monday night game or something, when Derek Carr threw Alvin Kamara 13 passes, and there's 4 guys standing around him, and he's catching 13 passes for 30 yards. It's like this is wearing him out, and for no good.
We're brought to you by Total Maintenance. Here in South Louisiana, keeping up with the heat. It's a full-time job. So Total Maintenance offers you a membership in its elite plan. Take care of your AC year-round. That plan includes twice yearly service. That includes diagnostics, 50% off of your regular monthly fee, and a lifetime warranty on repairs. If you sign up today, you get $200 in Total Maintenance bucks. Access to the app notifies you of any to notify any breakdowns. You lower your energy bills. You get fewer disruptions to your service with a Total Maintenance Elite membership plan, so nobody ever has to try to go to sleep hot. Call 480-0007. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. Dwayne Colucci joins us from Las Vegas when we return here at Bally's, downtown Baton Rouge, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank, the local way to bank big with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. You know, at United Community Bank, your business is our business. We support the hardworking folks behind local business, all the way from initial startup loans to ongoing planning and assessments. United Community Bank is here for you. Prentice Wilkes, Heath Muir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, and David Henry. Stop on by and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Bally's downtown Baton Rouge, and we bring Colucci in from out in the desert. How you doing, man?
Trying to stay, cold. I'll be honest with you, Charlie. It's like
Cold.
115 here every day. It's 115, and I'm just laying underneath the air conditioner every day. So, yeah, actually trying to stay cold and not overly hot.
I can imagine, and the humidity here is makes it feel like it. So, God bless all these guys that got to go out and practice football in the extreme heat. But you know this is one of the last 2 weekends without football, some kind of football, before we get into it. A week from today, the Hall of Fame game with the Panthers and the Cardinals. So when do you guys start to see a pickup of the futures betting? Everybody that's looking to make a score wants to get the bet in as soon as possible. So whether it be props for the win totals over under, to win the Super Bowl, to win the national championship, to win the Heisman Trophy, when do you guys start to see the biggest uptick in that?
Well, you definitely start to see the handle now start to grow. And, usually when we put them first out is when you get the sharp handle, Charlie. That's when you get the guys that the professional handicappers looking to take advantage. If we're slipping up here at Caesar Sports and the resort at Summerlin, or, any of the bookmakers are slipping up in town, that's when you get the first initial uptick, is when you initially put these win-loss totals, win Super Bowl, win division up. Now we're starting to also see a massive uptick. It's just, once you get to August is when you start to get the fever, and everybody starts to really get excited about pro football and college football. So, I anticipate in the next couple of weeks we're going to see some nice large wagers come in on these futures. As you get closer and closer, people start to get sensed. You start to see who the starting quarterbacks are going to be, injuries, guys coming back, Neighbors, for instance, how healthy is he going to be? You start to get a feel and gauge on this. And also, you have animosity in some of the camps. You saw yesterday the Cincinnati practice was a total disarray. I mean, Chase going off the players. And, you want to get a feel of who is going to be coming into the season ready, as opposed to who's a triage unit or, having trouble within the coaching staff and the play.
Dwayne, I was looking at the NFL odds to win the whole thing this morning. The Rams are now nearly plus 400 better than the next best choice on the board in some places, which is either Buffalo or Seattle. The Rams, where we're looking right now, plus 426 here at our local book, and the Bills at plus 809, and the Seahawks at the same thing. Is that a pretty big gap between the top choice and the next highest choice, or am I just imagining that?
No, you're definitely accurate, Charlie. I mean, look at it. I'm looking at it right now here at Caesar Sports and the resort at Summerlin. Rams 5-1, Bills 10-1, Ravens and Seahawks 12-1. So that's a big disparity, especially when you're dealing with an older quarterback like Stafford. I mean, if he goes down, what are the odds going to be? I mean, if he wasn't starting the season, what are the odds going to be? You're not going to convince me that Garrett, and if Donald suits up, which he probably is going to, means this much, in the landscape. That's a tough division. I mean, we talked about it last week, I should say, where Seattle is like at 10.5, Frisco 10.5. So, you got these gaudy win totals in that division, and this is a high level of competition. The NFC has got some really good teams, and no, you are not far off. I understand because we're so close to LA but now you're giving the odds at the current property you're doing the show from, and they're definitely the market factor across the board, even on the East Coast. So this is going to be interesting to see how the Rams play out. If McCool could stay healthy, the running game gets going. Defense is naturally going to be really, really tough. We'll see how it plays out. But, yeah, huge. When you're talking about 5-1 to 10-1, that's a huge difference.
Would it pop the number, you think, significantly if Aaron Donald came out of retirement? I know it's a defensive lineman, but it's Aaron Donald. We don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he's Aaron Donald. Do you think that would make a significant move on a number?
I think it is already, Charlie. I think guys feel that he's going to play, and definitely it is going to be a significant impact. I think people are perceiving he's going to be out there anyway and pre-handicapping, and that's why we have this big disparity, between the Rams and Buffalo. And you got to take it into consideration. It's before a game has even been played, even preseason. So, I think, the way he's practicing and he's at the facility, he's definitely going to suit up for the Rams. And I believe it is moving the meter already.
On that realm of expecting moves and the odds in the futures market, Colucci, I was curious, you've got the MLB trade deadline coming up on Monday. How often do you see people come in right after a big trade and place a bet, even if the odds have already been adjusted in the futures market?
Well, it depends. I mean, you're not going to see much action if Scooble goes to the Dodgers. They're already down on the Dodgers, and it's just going to make the odds even worse. So, it depends on where the player is going and what team. Naturally, if Milwaukee makes a big move, it's going to affect the odds as well as the Yankees. But when you're dealing with the Dodgers and the big-name players, you're not going to see many people come in. They'll deal with the games game by game. And, we're going to adjust the number, like you said, so why bet it after we adjust? Especially the Sharps will never do that. They'll look elsewhere and start to look for value on other teams that can possibly beat the Dodgers, the Yankees, and so forth.
Clutch, let me ask you about college football and some of these futures right now. It would seem to me that there might be some liability on some of these Heisman longer shots because you can get some pretty big names that if they happen to break out, big numbers. I'm looking at guys like Bryce Underwood at Michigan. Had a so-so rocky freshman year, but everybody knows the talent there. He's just under 50-1. I'm looking at Malachi Toney, who's the best player on Miami's team, 32-1. Jaden Maivia, from USC, 25-1. There are some really talented guys, and I don't even remember what Mendoza was at this time last year, but I can't imagine it wasn't a pretty big number. How much liability on the Heisman race do you guys consider? None, apparently. Oh, well, we got him back. Go ahead. I'm sorry we lost you for a second.
Hello.
Okay. Go ahead.
The connection, guys.
Yeah. Okay. We
all
right. Get him back here, Jordan. Let's just reconnect. You can get once you get past the Arch Manning and C.J. Carr, Julian Sayin, Dante Moore group. It's kind of the top four. You can get 10-1 on Trinidad Chambliss. You can get 50-1 on some of these quarterbacks in there for the first time. What if Byron Brown at Auburn has a great year? He's almost 50-1. Kaluch, I think we got you back now. We were talking about liabilities on the Heisman and some of these bigger names and talented guys who have big numbers before the season starts.
Yeah, definitely. I heard you saying Tony. He's about 32-1 here at the resort at Summerlin Caesars. Byron Brown, 45. And, I'm sure Mendoza was up there last year. I don't remember exactly where he was in the market before the start of the season. But definitely you're seeing Carr and Manning take most of the attention early on here. But we'll adjust as the money starts to come in. We have several guys that are at 10 and 11-1. Chambliss, Moore, Smith, guys like that, Hoover, definitely, and they're market attractions that are right under the two favorites. So we make adjustments as the money starts to come in. There's definitely some value on some of these other players, but you have to take into consideration the strength of schedule and the popularity of the schedule, especially with the SEC market. That's what's going to dictate the flow, just because that is the premier conference. And you want to see if these guys could excel underneath that, under that strength of schedule, and then it just enhances their Heisman capabilities of winning. So, it's definitely interesting to see early in the season before, but always take that conference strength of schedule into consideration, when you're wagering on these Heisman Trophy winners.
And it's such a long season. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. After the LSU Clemson game last year, was Garrett Nussmeier not the favorite to win the Heisman, or very close to it?
I think that's right. He was at least like co-favorite, something like that.
And it's not like he had a monster game, but they went on the road. They beat a top 5 opponent, and it was okay. He's going to have this monster year. We didn't know how hurt he was at the time, but Kaluch, you remember that? After week one, you're going to get the biggest fluctuation in the Heisman odds.
Yes, definitely. After week one, people start to jump the gun. Even bookmakers do. I'll be honest with you, Charlie. We get over exuberant, but you have to watch that injury report. Like you said, nobody knew the health of Nussmeier, and you saw the odds drastically change, but then he's nowhere to be found. So that's what's especially in college. There's so many players. It's not like the NFL MVP betting at all. You have to keep your eye on all of the happenings, strengths of schedule, like we said, and all that going on. So, yeah, definitely after the first couple of weeks, you see such fluctuation. It's like a heartbeat.
Charlie, even in November, Jaden Daniels was 50-1 after losing to Bama. I mean, there can be massive fluctuation in that Heisman market. I mean, he was a month away from winning the award, and he was 50-60-1.
Well, I'll tell you who's going to be the favorite the middle of September. I don't care what happens in any other game. I'll make this bet with you right here. The favorite in mid-September will be the winning quarterback of the Ohio State-Texas game. It'll be Manning or Sayin. And if Texas does win that game, the odds will be primarily influenced by whatever Jimmy puts on Arch Manning, because it's his favorite player. So it's going to be a big line movement on that. Kaluch, if you see him at Delmar before he leaves,
wins at Delmar.
Yeah, tell him I said that before his trip is finally coming to an end. Hey, listen, buddy, we're looking forward to football starting. When we talk to you next Thursday, we'll be getting ready for the Hall of Fame game, and away we go. Enjoy your time at Delmar, and your off time is fleeting because football's just about here. So thanks a lot, Dwayne. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Charlie. I really appreciate it. Say hi to everybody in fabulous Baton Rouge.
We will do it. Dwayne Colucci out in Las Vegas. We're here at Bally's in the Sportsbook, downtown Baton Rouge. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Back here at Bally's Live at lunch. Jacques Doucet from WFB Channel 9 with us today. Jimmy will be back with us next week. Jacques, you believe in omens, harbingers, things like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then what does it mean that one of the games that's on right now, this is, we've got 6 screens up here. There's no live action going on right now, so it's a lot of replays. What replay are we watching? Ole Miss and Miami in the CFP semifinals.
That's right.
We're getting down to the point where Ole Miss loses.
Showed a cutaway there of Mario Cristobal. When they hired Brian Kelly, I thought that they could have given that guy a look. I was impressed with him, but obviously I don't even think they considered him. Or
the knock on Cristobal was that he had a lot of Les Miles to him. He was going to recruit exceptionally well. Mm-hmm. He was going to hire pretty well. But his game day coaching, his game day management of the game left a lot to be desired. And you saw, who'd they lose to 2 years ago when they should have knelt down? Syracuse? Or I forgot who it was. But they had a game where they simply had to take a knee and didn't and lost. That happened to Georgia Tech. Yeah, that happened to Kevin Steele years ago when he was at Baylor. It's like, if you have an opportunity to take a knee and win the game, you take a knee no matter what. And there have been times where you've looked at Miami's game management and gone, yikes.
What about if you're Jameis Winston and you run it in at the 1 yard line when you got a big lead? Do you take a knee there? Anyway, sorry, that's a different topic.
No, you're talking about the game where
he didn't listen to Dennis Allen
here. Yeah.
You know what I thought was Bush League about that? I didn't care if they punched it in. I thought it was Bush League that they got into victory formation and then punched it in. If they line up in a regular formation, well, it's professional football, and you just got to deal with that, okay? We're not talking about, junior high running up the score or anything like that.
Yeah.
But when you get in a victory formation at the professional level and you run a play, somebody can get hurt. That was the part that I disagree with. Not that they scored the touchdown. Want to score a touchdown? It's the NFL. Stop him if you don't like it.
He should have Tommy Tuberville, Auburn against Nick Saban in 2000, right, when they ran it in there at the end.
Rudy Johnson. Yeah, Rudy Johnson.
Could have ended it, but it was like, we're going to give you one more little sucker punch here.
Yeah, Saban didn't appreciate it all that much either. Jimmy's told that story about he was in the postgame at Jordan-Hare, and Saban was not pleased that they had done that. We're watching the very end of the game where Miami scores a win.
Well, and to be fair too, not to go on a left turn, but when Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, I mean, he's throwing bombs. What was that game late in the year? They playing some non-conference team and beating the pants off them.
They were,
and they were still airing it out, like
Western Kentucky or whatever. Which I've always hated, because if you're an informed Heisman voter, you look at the games that matter. Show me the what was the line? Show me the Alabama game 5 times. Don't show me the rental wins. Show me what you did in the big games. Yeah. We're going to talk more with Jacques when we come back. He's been with LSU and the Saints over the last couple of weeks. So we'll do a lot of that when we return at Bally's Sportsbook and Casino, live downtown Baton Rouge, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Bally's. I actually misspoke when I said there were no live sports on. Rangers and the Rays are in the third. I just thought this was a replay. Yeah. Max, why are they playing at 11 o'clock in the morning?
We've got a few afternoons games today. I guess
I get afternoon games, but they started this thing
11:15 or something like that. Hunter Fiducia just hits a double for the Rays in the top of the third inning out of the 9-hole and scores. So that's the one lone run. Unfortunately, it's against my Rangers, but 2 division leaders right now. The Rays leading the AL East and the Rangers leading the very weak AL West.
There's a lot of old people in Tampa, St. Pete, so they got to play the game early so they can go to bed by 6.
You just said they were all in good shape.
Oh, that's true. Right. Well, St. Pete is where they play,
fair.
Right?
Yeah, that's about, 45 minutes away, an hour away?
It's a ways away, but, you're right.
Come by and watch
both sides of my mouth there.
Come by and watch all of the action here this fall at Bally's. It's a phenomenal facility here. Among the best that you're going to see as far as sight lines and the availability of tables, kiosks, tellers at the window, bar service, food service, easy parking. It's going to be a really enjoyable day for you. You come out for college or pro football this fall. Looking forward to it myself here. So we'll be doing a lot of the Sunday shows here at Bally's downtown Baton Rouge. All right, Jacques. Practice starts next week for LSU. So give me your rundown on what you like, what you don't like, what you'll most be interested to watch when practice starts next week.
Well, I've been running the same 2.5-minute clip of Sam Levitt for the last 3 or 4 months. So I'd like some fresh video of Sam Levitt doing something, if we can. The media is anxiously awaiting the email of what. We're anxiously awaiting the email of what our media access will be. I think we got our big lick in during the spring. We're not going to get a whole lot in the fall, but hopefully we get a chance to get some shots of Levitt, some more video of him, and to talk to him. He is a bit of a mystery. It's he's the most important piece of the team. He's the most expensive piece of the team, I think. And he's played a lot of football in the past, unlike Joe Burrow when they got him, who only played sparingly at Ohio State. But he hasn't done an interview yet, and So I think everyone's looking forward to the day when he sits down and talks to us. That'll be
neither did Burrow. To be fair, Burrow did not talk until after they had played Miami that first year. Now, Jaden Daniels got here a little bit earlier in the calendar because he actually participated in spring football. The year Burrow got here, he didn't get to Baton Rouge until I think he committed in May and got here in June. And he didn't want to talk until after he had done something. Yeah. Daniels, I do remember talking a little bit in that first camp after he got here. But remember, he was in a competition. It was sort of window dressing, but he was in a competition. So I understand if Levitt doesn't want to talk until he can actually get out there and do something, but it's not unprecedented.
Right. No, I was thinking about the same thing. I was like, yeah, Burrow, when he came, he didn't practice in the spring, and then he didn't talk for a while. And so
he went through the whole August camp, and we asked, and Michael Bonnet knew that hey, listen, this is his call. He doesn't want to talk until he's done something. And, all right, you respect that.
Yeah, not to talk too much about the past, but that's before the portal and all that.
Yeah,
it's kind of a pet peeve of mine when people say, "Well, Joe Burrow got in the portal." No, he didn't. He graduated from college after 3 years, and then he was able to transfer at that point. Same principle, I guess, but. Looking back, how some guys on the team, like I think I talked to Thaddeus Moss the other day and some other guys that were kind of giving sideways looks to who's this guy coming in our locker room. That could have gone the other way if Joe Burrow wasn't Joe Burrow. And the fact you had some quarterbacks already on the roster who wanted to start, including Miles Brennan. 2 of them left, I think, in the middle of camp. And so
same day.
If
I remember, they were trying to divvy up the reps exactly equally. I remember that press conference like
Ogeron.
It was in the weight room, and he came out and he said, so far in camp, Joe Burrow, 257 snaps. Miles Brennan, 256 snaps. Okay, those of you scoring at home, got it.
Yeah, he's 4th string. And people are like, there's not even enough players to make 4 strings.
That's right. So let's assume that Levitt is healthy enough to go out there. What's next? And Kiffin has said multiple times he's cleared. He just said it again yesterday, so he's ready to go. After that, what's next?
Well, I think it's how he responds. He comes from Arizona State. He's played in playoff games, so he's been under bright lights. But Tiger Stadium, 102,000 people, opening weekend, ESPN College Game Day, Lane Kiffin, all the attention, all the eyeballs. I wouldn't be surprised if he's nervous and it takes him a little while to calm down. Going back 40 years, Tommy Hotson's first 3 passes didn't hit anybody. Remember that? He came out and he was just spraying it all over the place. A&M and Tiger Stadium. Took him a little bit to settle down, and he was a redshirt, I think. But, one of my favorite lines, too, Mickey Guidry, he said, the first time I dropped back in Tiger Stadium, I couldn't even see a receiver. I was so, nervous and, everything. This guy's not good. This guy's got veteran experience, but playing at LSU, it is just different. And so, that opening weekend, I think LSU's a 10.5-point favorite to win the game. I think a lot of people believe that Dabo Swinney's best days are behind him, but he'd like nothing better than to ambush Lane Kiffin in his first game in LSU and steal one. So, and another thing, too, if you were, casting a movie and you needed, the quarterback to cast in the movie, if you want to do, a remake of Varsity Blues or whatever, Sam Levitt, looks like a Hollywood movie star, if this guy hits in Baton Rouge, he's got a chance to be a superstar like Daniels and Burrow before him.
Jock, he played in one SEC stadium his whole career. It was at Mississippi State last year. It was his worst performance.
He didn't play well in that game, did he?
No. 10 of 22, 82 yards, 2 interceptions. It was a rough game for him, so maybe the cowbells got to him. Hopefully the other SEC stadiums go a little better for him. Yeah. That was a rough one.
Well, and he hasn't – these guys haven't played a down of football together. All these wide receivers are new. The quarterback's new. And, look, they've done it before. Lane Kiffin's done it before. Look, our guy Gautreaux, the referee there from Lafayette, there midfield here, the national championship.
Spelled the right way too, with an H and an X, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, your distant cousin, right? So those are a few things I'm thinking about. Defensive line, are they? How will they be there?
Young, I think, is going to be the key word there for most of it. Anyway, I want to see a few things. We had Rohan on last week and said, look, after you do all of this, you do these throw-in sessions in the summer. Quarterback, organize it, the receivers get there. You got 12 guys. None of them have, nobody comes back and with the resume of when Jamar Chase came back or when Malik Neighbors came back. There's no established number 1, 2, or 3. I mean, there are guys that we like a little bit better, but I said, how do you, when there's no coaches on the field, quarterback's running this thing, you got 12 receivers and they all want to participate. How do you divvy up the reps before the coaches get there? And he said, well, the cream will rise. He says it'll be obvious to you if they spend that amount of time together, and if they have spent that amount of time together this summer, which we're told that they have, then it will be obvious. It should be obvious the separation amongst the receivers. Yeah. You hope, okay, because if they're all the same, that you can say, well, then you've got great depth. I would tell you that I would rather 1 or 2 guys really emerge. I'm fine with depth, but I want a couple of guys to really up their game. So that's the first thing. The next thing is on this offensive line that was not good a year ago. You got 3 players that are scheduled to start that were on last year's roster. The center, I think, was going to keep his job no matter what, but this new coaching staff came in and they brought a guy that was probably going to start for them if they had stayed at the last place, gave him a starting job. He got beat out by somebody who was on last year's team. And then you had the guy who probably had the worst year among LSU offensive linemen, who everybody was anxious to replace. They looked at him and said, nope, he's okay. We're gonna go with him at the right tackle position. So was it now you did bring in a very experienced, talented, expensive left tackle, okay? But a lot of the other pieces on this offensive line, they were here a year ago, but you got a different set of eyes coaching them now.
Yeah, and I'm reading this preseason magazine. It's amazing how many former LSU offensive linemen are at other schools now, like Carius Kearns over at Ole Miss.
Lance Hurd at Tennessee.
Lance Hurd, he's at Kentucky.
No, he left for Kentucky.
Like, right. If you're an LSU fan, you're like, Lance Hurd is playing at Kentucky. Why? Money, I know, but
well, he was playing at Tennessee, but not very well.
Yeah,
that was his problem. The left side of Texas A&M's starting offensive line is ex-Tigers. That's Tyree Adams and
you root for Bo Bordelon and his commitment to the school and being a legacy and being a fifth-year guy and all that. And another thing, real quick too, that I think is important is the strength and conditioning during the summer. So Monday was 40 days from kickoff. John Carbello, former LSU kicker who made 3 big field goals in the SEC championship win against Tennessee years back, 2001. He's got a son on the team, Aiden, and Aiden's been through the Jake Flint strength and conditioning. And look, Jake Flint's not a dunce. He's good at what he does. The Green Bay Packers hired him, but they got away from, a lot of people said Tommy Moffitt was over the hill. He was washed. He's outdated, and he goes to A&M, and we've seen what A&M has done to LSU the last 2 years. So I think from what I'm hearing, they're getting back to some things that they did during the Moffitt era. And can this Nick Savage be to Lane Kiffin what Moffitt was to Saban years back to an extent? Because you're hearing, I've talked to some parents of kids. He comes home, he immediately falls on the couch. He's gassed. They're all tired. They're running them. To play the style of football they're going to have to play under Lane Kiffin, which is go, go, go. So I'm interested to see. And you mentioned Jordan Seaton. Look at his body and how he's changed since coming from Colorado.
Cohen Eccles was the other name I couldn't come up. He's not guaranteed to start, but he is going to be in the mix.
And Ori Williams at Tennessee. They've got a ton of them. You're right, John. It's crazy.
Yeah. They were all highly rated. They recruited good players. Apparently on paper, they just couldn't, get in the red zone and score touchdowns.
I thought that the offensive line was poorly coached last year. I think that the strength and conditioning coaching stuff, this is just my opinion. I've had ex-players tell me I'm nuts, and I'm completely wrong. I think they get scapegoated more often than they should. I think there's nobody that's going to go in and run a strength and conditioning program that is not up to speed. They'll get called out on it. I think that a lot of times you get effort and intensity that are there under one guy, not under another guy. I think a lot of that is you're self-motivating. You got all the equipment you need. You've got all of the techniques you need. Do you really need somebody sitting over there yelling at the top of their lungs over the top of you every second of every day to get your job done? So I think that's my opinion. Like I said, I've been told a bunch of times that I'm wrong.
Well, how much of that drifts down from the head coach? Like last year, you go to Nashville and you see Vanderbilt push LSU around for 4 quarters.
Yeah.
LSU scores a couple of touchdowns. One was kind of flukish. But Vanderbilt, I talked to Will Muschamp before he got out of came back to coaching at Texas. His son was on the team, talking about Vanderbilt had offensive linemen that were 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
But so does it come from the fact that Brian Kelly just did not motivate or did not give you a sense of, hey, I want to run through a wall for this guy too?
And maybe that's it. But again, and I'm not for 1 second saying they didn't get pushed around up there and in other games. The proof is out there. I have a hard time blaming that on the strength and conditioning coach. They're out of shape. Is that the head coach's fault? Because the strength and conditioning coach, for a guy like Brian Kelly, who's been in the game as long as he has, is he really going to hire somebody unqualified? Okay, is he really going to hire somebody that's going to put in a program that's so obscure that they're just going to be weak? Or is there not the intensity and the wherewithal from the players and the coaches to go out there and put their best foot forward? I don't.
Yeah,
man, you can go to that weight room anytime you want. You can go in there and you can work as hard as you want. You don't need somebody up there screaming. And I've seen this get scapegoat. They were scapegoating Moffitt here a lot. The games passed him by, like you were talking about earlier. So
2021, when they fired Ogeron midway through the season, and he still coached them to the end. I mean, it looked like a MASH unit down in the end zone. Now, all these guys standing around having surgeries before they needed to have surgeries and so forth because they weren't into it anymore.
Right. They had mentally checked out. We're brought to you by the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store, also in LaRose and Lockport. You're building this summer, lumber delivery available out of 2 of the locations with all of your building supplies. So whether it's just a small add-on or major construction job on your property, they can help you out there. Hand tools, power tools, and a little bit of instruction if you need some help. If you can do it yourself, you can save a lot of money. But you don't exactly know where to start, what to buy, what supplies, what techniques to use. Well, they can help you out there. It's a lot better than a YouTube video because you can ask questions, and their qualified staff will be happy to help you out. Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodeau, Highway 70 in Pierre Part. And if you go to thethibodeaustore.com online, you get access to all 4 sites at the one website. Lots of outdoor cooking equipment, as well as outdoor furniture, patio furniture, poolside furniture, and a whole lot more at the Thibodeau store. Again, thethibodeaustore.com. Live at lunch from Bally's, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Don't forget our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. You get in a car accident like I did, it's just it's not fun. So pick up the phone, call 343-1111. You can go to the website at ocbrown.com and you can schedule it there. As soon as you pull up the main page, it'll direct you accordingly. It's easily, and that's what we never charge for that initial consultation. You get in a car accident, you need it. Everybody knows that, and we'll take care of that. We'll pay for your doctor bills, set up the doctor bills, just eliminate as much of the stress and inconvenience that goes along with this. And that's where Dana comes in, especially negotiating with the insurance companies, which there's an art involved in that. So do like I did when I got into a car accident. Call our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. Your law firm for a lifetime, 343-1111 at ocbrown.com.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Bally's. Here, part of the $100,000 Heat is Rising giveaways this summer. Your chance to win portions of $100,000 in cash. The more you play, the more entries you get here at Bally's. Great place to come out and watch the games. Jacques, a week from Saturday, the Hall of Fame inductions are coming up. The Hall of Fame game is next Thursday. And Drew Brees is the first Saint to go in on the first ballot. And came out yesterday that Sean Payton is going to introduce him. You guys saw this video, and Payton got emotional, which he's Not fiery emotional, but like sentimental emotional. We've seen him fire emotional plenty. Sort of, what's the word I'm looking? Nostalgic. You don't really see him do that all that often, but he was genuinely touched that Breeze picked him to introduce him.
Yeah,
obvious choice to me, but
right.
And I know he was honored to have that.
Well, you kind of what we talked about earlier. It's been 20 years since those two teamed up for the first time in New Orleans. Of course, they're going to honor the 20-year. They're going to honor the 20-year anniversary of the block punt this fall when the Saints play the Falcons for Monday Night Football. And I remember when they first hired Sean Payton, baby-faced guy. You know, he looked like he was like 30 or something, and now he's got a little gray in his hair. He looks a little older, you know, and those two are obviously crucial to the greatest run in New Orleans Saints history. I mean, not only the Super Bowl, but winning the Super Bowl, but 3 NFC championship appearances. I think they won the division 7 times. I mean, if you went to go watch the Saints play in the Superdome, they were going to win most of the time, 90% of the time. And so it was just a great time. The 06 team in particular was just a lot of fun because it was unexpected. In the preseason, they looked so bad. I think Troy Aikman and some others said this is the worst team in the league. And for them to be 1 win away from the Super Bowl that year, just the Reggie Bush stuff just made the Saints cool. Like they were not a cool franchise, and when they got him, obviously they sold out the building before the season started for the first time ever, I think, and now they're 21 years straight of selling out the building before before playing a game. And Reggie Bush started that, and Drew Brees really, you know, it was kind of like Aaron Brooks had to go. Okay, that was enough. But then it wasn't like we were getting. There was a lot of hope invested. Hopefully he can be okay. I mean, you never thought.
A lot of people wrote him off.
Yeah. That
he was not going to be able to play again, much less well, but that he was not going to be able to play again. You know what I remember about that, Jacques? It's easy to look back on it now. It was the number of players that they got that ended up being just monster additions for them that flew under the radar at that time. You brought up Bush, and everything you said about him is right, of course. They took Marcus Colston in the 7th round of that draft out of Hofstra, which doesn't even have disbanded their football program after that. Nobody knew who that guy was. They got Zach Strief in the 7th round that year. He ended up being a long-time starter.
Jim Henderson's replacement.
Did the play-by-play for a while. Jari Evans was in the 4th round that year out of Bloomberg State, who, if you had put a gun to my head and said, what state is Bloomberg State in? I got no idea. It's in Pennsylvania, but I didn't know at the time. Wait, they took a guy out of Bloomberg. Evans is on the brink of the Hall of Fame. I think he's eventually going to get in. They brought in 3 linebackers. Roman Harper was drafted that year, who's a long-time standout for the Saints. The linebacking core was so abysmal that in camp, on the fly, Peyton was like, I got to get some professional linebackers in here. Mm-hmm. And he made 3 moves. He brought in Semino, Shanley, and Fujita.
Yeah.
All of those guys were good players that year, and Fujita in particular stuck around for a long time. Man, you get past the headliners, Breeze and Bush, that was a thick camp, a thick amount of players that they brought in. It's like, wait a minute, that guy can play. That guy can. We didn't know it in the preseason yet, but it's like, wait a minute, that guy's pretty good. Look at all they've added. It was a magical run that they run that offseason.
Yeah, I remember being at camp. I'm like, why do they keep throwing the ball to number 12? Who is this guy?
Because he keeps catching it.
Throw it to Joe Horn. Throw it to 87. Who's this guy 12 from Hofstra? Which is, I think their football program's now defunct, but. Yeah, Marcus Colston played his entire career for the Saints. Like you said, Harper. And just think, Charles, how many drafts over the years have the Saints whiffed on? But the 2 they hit on carried them to so many victories. Was it the 17 draft?
17 draft.
They got Kamara, and they hit on pretty much in 06. They hit. There's been a lot of other drafts where they've whiffed. But
last year's draft may end up being in that conversation before we're done. If Kelvin Banks – is a starting left tackle in the league, and we see him make that jump because the rookie year was so impressive. And if Tyler Shuck, who's just a little bit older than Breeze was when he got here, I'm not saying he's going to be Breeze, of course, but if he is a starting quarterback for a while, if you find a starting tackle and a starting quarterback in the draft, Jonas Sanker, you have had a really, really good draft if you're able to pull that out of it.
Yeah, and just some quick thoughts on Breeze. The Super Bowl run, the playoffs, he did not throw an interception. He was the MVP of the Super Bowl. The playoff games that they lost after that, the ones at the end, he did not play as well as he did. But the 2011 at San Francisco, that's not Drew Brees' fault. 2017, he throws a 4th and 10 to Willie Snead on the sideline to set up what should have been the game-winning field goal. And we know what happens, the Minnesota Miracle. After that,
the Nola no
call.
The
Nola no call. He threw up the lollipop to
Tommy Lee.
The long pass before that, Ted Ginn.
Oh, okay.
To set it up, and just amazing, no flag that day. And then he didn't play well against the Vikings the next year, and then Tampa in 2020 in an empty Superdome, which is really sad that was his last game as a Saint, but. He is the GOAT in Saints history.
Realistically, you should have, 2 Super Bowls?
I think so. Had they beaten San Francisco in 2011, they would have played the Giants in the Superdome in the NFC Championship game. They had demolished that Giants team earlier in the year. Do they win the Super Bowl that year? I don't know. The Nola no call they get in, that was one of the worst Super Bowls to watch ever, Rams and the Patriots. If it's a completely different game plan if they're playing for New England, if they're playing New Orleans versus if they're playing. Jared Goff was a very young quarterback at the time. They could play it a little bit vanilla. I don't know what Belichick would have come up with, but I know he would have gone into that game thinking 13 points ain't going to be enough against Drew Brees and Sean Payton. It would have been a completely different game. I think the Saints would have had a great chance.
Well, and real quick, too, one team won the Super Bowl, one team didn't. But I think I've talked to numerous guys over the years who were on the 2009 team and the 2011 team that say the 2011 team was better than the 2009 team. They were on fire. They won 9 straight games before they lost to the 49ers.
The offensive numbers were better in 11 than they were any other year. And I know what happened at the end of the game and, the defensive breakdown, but they lost Pierre Thomas early in that game to a concussion. It was a play down by the goal line, and it was a massive loss for them that day. Pierre Thomas was such a big part of everything they did, and particularly in the screen game. He was an ace in that, and that was always one of the most – I thought one of the most lethal parts of the Saints offense under Peyton and Breeze was they were the best at the screen game. You see all the chunk plays on the long play of Henderson and Colston and all that stuff. But that screen game, man, I give them so much credit for the time they spent on it because I also think that it set up the protection so much better. They were able, because of the fear, they throw the ball over your head, and you just to this back out of the backfield, and the play goes 50 yards. I think it helped them stymie the pass rush on some of the deeper drops for Breeze.
Well, in the Super Bowl, right? I think it was the first touchdown the Saints scored. They threw a screen to Pierre, and he got in the end zone when they had Dwight Freeney and all these beasts bearing down. To your point, exactly.
Yeah, that was how they got it done. All right, a little bit more Saints and LSU before we let Jacques go, and we're also going to hear about a new show that he's doing because he didn't want us to have all the fun in the afternoons. We're live here at Bally's Sportsbook and Casino, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Yes, don't forget our friends at Go Chevrolet in LaPlace, Go Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Plaquemine, Go Chevrolet West in Plaquemine, and Go Ford in Waveland, Mississippi. My buddies Lee Carney and Nick Richard doing a wonderful job. Mention my name, Jimmy Ott, for VIP pricing. Whether you're in the market for a new vehicle or a pre-owned vehicle with extension of the factory warranty. We have a certified body shop as well, and our concierge service department, there's nothing like it. You talk about convenience on a different level. I don't just talk about the great vehicles from the Go Automobile Dealership family. My Tahoe came from Go Chevrolet in LaPlace. The Go Automobile Dealership family.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're also brought to you in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. If you're in pain, if you've had an injury of some kind, if you just, something hurts that didn't used to hurt, that happens as you get older, let them help you out. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff have helped our family out. So if you need an adjustment or you need just an exercise and stretching program to get you loose, dry needling, electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy, they'll target your problem areas and get you to work, so get you to feeling better so you can get back to work, you get back to moving around like you like, get a good night's sleep. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Jacques, a new endeavor for you with Jacques Talk Live that you're doing in the afternoons now. In fact, you started this a few weeks ago. I'm going to be doing the show with you this afternoon. You've had way better guests than me so far.
It was
you
kind of
got Steve Insminger to talk, man. That was impressive.
Well, I love Steve Insminger. I'm not patting myself on the back. I got at least two guys that talk to me that don't seem to talk to do many interviews. Steve Insminger and Tommy Hodson, a couple of former LSU quarterbacks. But no, Steve's great. That might be the last time Steve does an interview the rest of his life.
Everybody likes Steve, but that was not Steve's favorite thing to do was media. Still isn't, probably.
I remember they played Louisville in the Citrus Bowl, and the offensive coordinator had to speak. And I remember getting up there. I told Michael, this is the last time I'm doing this. You won't see me for another year.
You know what's a shame is because you turn the microphones and the cameras off and listen to Steve talk. He's got great stories, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been in the game so long.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that when you got to talking with him, some of the stuff that he was revealing, I guess, from the 2019 season.
Well, thank you. I mean, you think about a guy connected to LSU history. I mean, he played in the 79 USC game in Tiger Stadium, perhaps the most famous loss in LSU history in terms of like being reflected on in a positive manner, like amazing game, atmosphere, all that. He played for Charles McClendon there at the end, Charlie Mack at LSU. And then, you kind of forget he coached against LSU a lot, like as an assistant at Auburn. And Georgia and Texas A&M, and then comes back with Les Miles and is part of that 2011 team that could have won a national title, and then is part of the 19 team. So, we're doing a new show called Jacques Talk Live, and it's a streaming show, podcast, you want to call it. It's a visual thing. I mean, it's like a television show. Still a lot of people watch newscasts, but I don't know, whatever years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 80% watched you on television, 20% watched you streaming. Now it's like 50-50, and it's like going to go more and more into the streaming aspect of things. And people consume a lot of stuff in the afternoon and maybe not as much at night as they used to. So every day, WAFB.com, on Roku, on YouTube, on cable channel 9, if you still have Cox Cable, Jacques Talk Live from 2 to 3.
You've complained in the past that, hey, listen, we did this piece with this guy. I only got a few minutes, so this gives you a lot. You got a blank canvas now. You got a lot. You got a lot more time.
Yeah, I mean, some people say, "Oh man, you got to do that." I mean, that sounds, and yeah, it's challenging, but at the same time, if I tell my 13-year-old self, you're gonna wake up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and you're gonna have your own 1-hour show every day to talk about LSU football and bring on guests like Charles Hannegriff and talk to LSU coaches and former players. I mean, what more could I ask for, right? So that's exciting. This time of year, as you know, you kind of kill the clock sometimes.
Yeah.
But once football starts and all these sports start, that hour is going to fly by every day. So I enjoy it. I appreciate Channel 9 giving me this opportunity, and 25 years at Channel 9, Charlie.
You were doing this obviously with Jacques Talk, not in the live format, but before.
Here's the thing about that, Charlie, real quick, as you know.
Please.
When you're recording, you can say, should I ask this? Should I not? And then maybe you throw it out, and you get maybe a bad answer, or they don't like the question. You can always edit that out.
That's true.
When you're live, it's like, to quote our band, live without a net. So
we recorded one. You remember the Football Network? that was here in town for.
Is that what Herb Vincent initially?
I don't know.
No, that was something else.
This was the Jerry Glanville was with them.
It was in the Cox building off of Florida.
It was, yeah. It didn't last very long, but the first year they were here, Jerry Glanville was doing some stuff for them, and so we were going to have him on the pregame show, just to promote the Football Network and have him tell some stories, and so he couldn't do it live. Okay, no problem. We'll tape something on Thursday, and Gordy's going to do the interview, right? And so Gordy goes into the studio, and I'm going to go in and listen because I just want to hear what's going to be in there. And so I'm sitting on the other side of the board. Gordy's running the board, and he does about 15, 18 minutes with Glanville. Really good stuff. Okay, Glanville's at his best, and he said, "Thank you, Coach." Hangs up the phone, and then I don't know what happened, but Gordy pushed something. And the whole thing disappeared. And this was before everything was just backed up instantly.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think I lost it. I think I lost it. I'm like, all right, we're just going to have to fill a segment because there's no way. He goes, no, I'm going to call him back. He's going to do it again. I'm like, you're not going to do this, right? You're not going to call him back. He goes, yeah, I'm going to call him back. So Gordy calls him back, and Glenn was like, really? And he goes, yeah, okay, because he's in promote mode for the network.
Yeah.
He did 18 minutes again and was just as good. I don't think because it's never quite like he did it the first time. Did 18 more minutes. I'm like, Jerry Glanville, I'm a fan from here on out because he did that. That was always the scariest thing, when you're doing stuff that you pre-produce. Like, man, don't lose. Now the redundancies are so much that it's almost impossible to lose it even if you do, but back then that wasn't the case.
There's something in TV called reverse roll, which means when you thought you were recording, you weren't, and when you thought the camera was off, it was recording.
That's a bad feeling.
When you get back and you get a 5-second pan into the floor, that's not good.
What you do when those things happen, your prompter goes out. I don't know how much you use a prompter, how much you're just rolling.
When you
don't have to reveal all of your secrets.
Sports on Friday night is no prompter. I mean, that's all handwritten on shot sheets and ad lib. A 6 o'clock sportscast or a 10 o'clock, a lot of that I type my own scripts and read it that way. But you do them both. You need to be ready to do both.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenging show to keep up. The high school names are not household names. You get some sophomore running back at Catholic High or wherever.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a minute, what's that kid's name?
And it's more important to get it right because that might be the only time the guy ever has his name said.
And mom and dad are watching.
Correct.
And grandma's watching, and
Uncle
Phil's watching. Everybody's got an eyeball on it.
Steve Schneider, my boss for many years, he taught me so much. Steve was never about trying to make himself a star. He was always about telling stories, highlighting what needs to be highlighted in the community. And he built that show from scratch, from nothing. A 1-hour high school football show? Are you crazy? Who will watch that? And sent cameras out to areas that weren't being covered before. It was just always like, who's Catholic High playing and who U High is playing or whatever. No, let's go to Santa Monica. Let's go to East Ascension. Let's go to Kentwood. Let's go to all these different places. So doing the show with Steve, it was like sometimes it'd be like, we'd be in the commercial break, and it's like, okay, let's move up this game from that block to here. Let's cue in that game a little bit because we got some stuff at the beginning that's not really a highlight and that kind of thing. And it really taught me this is what TV is, and to not, lose my cool. And I'm a pretty high-strung guy. I lost my cool plenty of times, but these days, I guess I'm a little bit older. I just try to take a deep breath and relax.
that show, and of course, we've done the high school football scoreboards for a long time. Kate and those guys do a great job of it. We were doing that stuff back in the 90s. And it's how many people can you get on the phone? Can you get – we used to if you were doing the PA at a game, well, we call you. If we knew you, we call you because you definitely watched the game. We used to get a lot of our scores. I know you guys did this too way back when. From Acadian Ambulance, they had a score line. Because they had ambulance drivers at every game. They'd have the ambulance drivers call in the scores to a hotline, and you would get some of the games that were further out.
The fire department, the police department, the
assistant principals, anybody that was at. You were at the game. You could tell me about the game. Put the game on, and you were trying to juggle. 15, 18 games or more.
Yeah, and you tell them now, look, the show's about an hour, so we want the good, exciting finishes. Never leave a game that's tied in the fourth quarter. We got until 11 o'clock to get it on. But at the same time, not everybody can do that because I can't tap dance. We can't tap dance for 2 or 3 blocks with no games.
Right.
So it's the old thing of, okay, back when Nick Brosette played for U-High. Okay, U-High's playing Team X. I'm going to get 3 Nick Brosette touchdowns in the first quarter. U-High's going to win 50-6. And then we go to this game. Santa Ma's playing EA. Well, that game we probably shoot the whole thing. But go to a game that's going to be competitive, and hopefully you get a last-second finish. That's how, every photographer is pretty much assigned 2 games. One that hopefully is a blowout and one that's hopefully a good game and you get the ending.
And you got to get in and out of these places.
Yeah.
When you went and shot a lot of this stuff yourself at times.
Yeah, I still shoot, not like I used to, but I still go out and try to shoot a game or two if they're close and I can get back in-house. But, yeah, KLFY, it's where I interned, and they kind of taught me, okay, you're going to drive to Kaplan, you're going to go here, you're going to get back in the door, and the show hits at this time, and you gotta get it on the air with the names right and all that. So that's a rush every week.
And sometimes it works out exactly perfectly. You pull up, and this touchdown in the third quarter put them ahead to stay, and they went on to win 34-27. And sometimes you just you leave, and then you find out that 10 minutes after you left, and you can just tell when you're doing the scores, it's like, this tied the score at 20, and 5 minutes later, they scored the winning touchdown on a 50-yard pass. But
sometimes it's like you guess wrong. It's like, I got to the game and it was 37-0 at half. I'm like, what? So hopefully it doesn't happen too often. The last thing you want to do, Charlie, is get to a game that's 37-0, show the other team score a touchdown with the scrubs in, and then say, by the way, this team won 37-7.
Right.
That's not good either.
You get a few calls from the winning team on that?
Yeah. Show me like the 40
This is how the sausage is made. This is actually interesting to me. I've done a little television, but not much.
Show me a play that set up the 1-yard touchdown. Let's not show an establishing shot and then some guy plows in from 1 yard out and it's 7-0. I don't like that. Give me the 40-yard run or the interception or the fumble that set that up, and then cut away. Another thing, Charlie, no extra points.
Even to win the game.
At the end, okay,
I get it. None of the fluff, none of the but you guys got to edit all this on the fly. And if you get these highlights in late, you're editing on the fly, you're writing on the fly. It's as hectic an hour.
Steve was the master. Sometimes he'd be like, "We don't have a shot sheet in time." It's like, we got to get it on the air, and he would grab the rosters and he'd be looking. Okay, there's 5 running, 5 is boom. And do it that way sometimes too.
But it's 25 rosters. I mean, it's
it's
not just 1 or 2 teams. I mean, with LSU or the Saints, you can kind of ad-lib that stuff. You know all the players, but I don't think you know the 2 deeps from Zachary or Parkview by heart, right?
No, it's true. And there's pretty much live stats to an extent, but unlike NFL where you can go to ESPN.com and see all the scores in real time and stats and all that. It's a lot different with the high school.
You guys got a month's worth of previews left, or
we started on June 22nd, and I guess we're going to go. The jamborees are August 28th, and the season opener is the 4th, September 4th.
No high school previews from Omaha this year.
No.
I remember talking to you in Omaha some years at the high school preview started. Yeah, we started last week.
Look, back in the day, we did 70 or 80. I think now we're like, I'm lazy. We do like 50.
That's a lot. That is a lot. We'll come back here at Bally's, wrap things up live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch from Bally's Casino and Sportsbook on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
2 minutes left here with Jacques Doucet from WFB. Appreciate your time so much, Jacques. So last predictions before well, camp, I guess, started yesterday with the Saints. But last predictions for LSU and the Saints. Take them in whatever order you want.
I'm just going to say off the top of my head, LSU's going to go 9-3, but the schedule is so difficult they'll get into the playoff. How about that?
Well, that would make Lane Kiffin happy because he's stumped for more emphasis on strength of schedule. I appreciate your optimism. I hope you're right. Yeah. I am skeptical.
Yeah.
Trying to think of a polite word where the committee is concerned with strength of schedule, but 9-3 is.
It's the most exciting schedule LSU's played in years. I like to go to I didn't like when Auburn dropped off. I love going to Auburn. So go to Auburn, go to Kentucky, go to Tennessee. Back-to-back games against Alabama and Texas. It's a great schedule. Now, the entertaining and successful are two different things. They can be.
You are going to Oxford.
Oh yeah, that one. I didn't mention that one.
You're looking forward to that one.
Our WAFB polos are purple. Darren DeQuano, our videographer, has said you were not wearing that shirt on September the 19th or the 18th, the day before in Oxford. Wear green, wear white, wear something neutral, but not purple and not gold or canary yellow, whatever you want to describe it.
I think that's sound advice. It's just going to not. And listen, I hope that there's no chance of this happening, but you can hope that they'll dial the rhetoric down just a little bit in regards to any kind of physical confrontations. Okay, listen. LSU's going to bring a bunch of fans. They're going to bring whatever the maximum tickets that they can get. They're going to bring. Okay, go root for your team, cheer for your team. You can even be a little bit vulgar if you want to, but let's not have what happened at the baseball game happen again. That's where you've gone a little bit too far. And I think that the security will be extremely tight. It's going to be nasty. I want you to tell me all about it when you get back because I ain't going. I'll stay here.
I also think that Twitter is not real life.
That's true. That's
to an extent.
And like I say, dial the rhetoric back just a little bit. Saints.
I really like Tyler Shuck, and there seems to be more optimistic energy out there than years past, and some things never change. The NFC South is still the NFC South. It's not very good. So I think that there's a strong chance they're going to start 0-2, having to go to Detroit and having to go to Baltimore. If they split those two, that'd be awesome. But I think there's a strong chance they can go. They've given him offensive weapons, 9-8.
Max asked me yesterday, because the odds are about the same on LSU or the Saints making the playoffs. Okay, so which one is more likely? I thought of a better answer, and Jacques kind of led me into it. They're both going to win 9 games. So if they both win 9 games, aren't the Saints more likely to make the playoffs than LSU?
Well, I think
they could both make it. They could both miss. But
Saints
if they both win 9,
is 7.5,
yeah,
and LSU's is 8.5. So do with that what you want. But.
Okay, and that's got to be taken into consideration. Obviously, the Saints play 5 more games to get to 9 wins, but 9 wins for both teams. One of them makes the playoffs.
That'd be good for our station. Channel 9,
that would keep,
9 and 9.
That's right. It'll keep everybody interested. Jacques, can't thank you enough.
Oh, I had a great time. This was fun. Thank you.
Spending some time with us today. I'll be on Jacques Talk Live here in about an hour. From all of us here at Bally's, join back in the studio. Have a great afternoon, everybody, and stay tuned for Hunt 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.